Hello friends, teachers, and Merry Christmas season to you. Hope you're doing well. Today we're looking at a doctrinal mastery review, and if you're tempted to say, these are all the same, I'm kind of tired of doing the same thing over and over again, this is different, and I think you'll like some things about this. You can see in this introductory purpose that we're giving students an opportunity to practice applying the doctrinal mastery passages to their goals to become like the Savior. And this is not just seminary goals, these are the children and youth goals. So it's another church program that is getting married with seminary. And so this is different. We don't do this very much. I think it'll be good. And so today I want to give 2 tips is all on things that I think will help this lesson go even better. So we start with this familiar image. And this could be a great way to start, but I think we can get a little bit more life out of a principle of, let's establish there are tasks and then there are tools to help us accomplish the tasks. And you can choose an object that would work with a task and a tool for the task that fits you. But I kind of like woodworking. So I went out of the garage, I got this piece of scrap wood, I drew a line on it and say, so here's what I might do. I might invite a student to come up to the front, because that's always a good visual to get somebody standing up and up in front, and say, hey, Sally, you see this line? I want you to cut it. I'm going to give you about 60 seconds to do that. Would you just cut this board in 2? And she might say, well, I can't do that. And you can ask students, do you have anything that would help her to do this? And somebody might say, well, you can scratch your pen into there, or I've got a nail file, or something that way. And you're just establishing tools are pretty handy. And then you could have in a bag or something, this is me, I might pull out of my bag this little Japanese cutoff saw and say, would this work? And I think it would. It might be kind of hard because this is a small saw. So I might pull out another, would this work better? Here's just a traditional hand saw. And yes, it would. And I might even have another saw. This is a reciprocating saw. And I might bring that out and say, why might this be even better? Because you don't even have to work. You just push a button and it'll do most of the work on that one. And so this object lesson is just a simple object to identify that there are tools that help us accomplish the tasks. And so I would right up front say, students, today we're going to talk about some really awesome tasks that there are some tools to help us with. Then I'd show this image and say, who knows where this image comes from? And maybe not everybody will, but this is the children and youth goals icon. And we could turn to Luke 2:52 and identify where do we see spiritual, social, physical, intellectual, and we can talk about this. But here's my second tip. So first tip is maybe an object lesson to really kind of get students involved. Second tip is the rest of this lesson is built on the assumption that students have goals, and these doctrinal mastery passages will help them accomplish their goals. I think that's true that those passages will. But for this to really go well, we've got to make sure that students have identified some of their goals that they really would like help with, goals that are really theirs. And so you may want to go slower to make sure everybody has something identified. So some students maybe do, and you say, what is your social goal? And they can say it. But my guess is maybe most of our students actually would not have identified already. And so this would be a good time to open journals and say, what are some examples of spiritual goals, social goals, physical, intellectual goals, things that you actually care about that you want to improve or increase with, and in order to be more Christ-like. And then I would have students make sure that they have written in their journal one for each category, or at least a couple. But they've got something identified, because the next thing we're going to do in this lesson is look at a list of these doctrinal mastery passages and say, which of these could help with your specific goals? And so if they don't have anything written down or nothing's in there, then this activity just isn't really going to fly. But if they do, to identify some verses and have students open to those verses and say, what in there? What is the teaching in that verse that could help you with that goal? And they could share, they could work with a neighbor and share some things. They could write it in their journals. But I think this lesson will be great if students can be invested in getting behind the idea of, I want to be like Jesus with these goals. And there are tools to help me accomplish that. That's my 2 tips for the day. I hope it's helpful as you have a great lesson with your students. Thanks for all that you do.